Good morning, Year 2. It's Marvellous Monday. And if you haven't recognised, there's a different voice to your videos in maths today. That's because it's me, Miss Doe. I'm going to be continuing your home learning with you until we get you back to school. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the home learning you produce and hearing how you're getting on with not only your maths, but your spelling ISA and your English and everything else. Now, today we're going to move on to a new chapter, chapter 7, and this is all about temperature. Now, the first thing I want you to do is have a look at the picture, because there are some clues in that picture that might help you answer the question, do you know what a thermometer is? Pause the video and speak to your adult. What do we use thermometers for? Where might we find a thermometer? Talk about all of these things and make a list as a journal entry in your book. Now, today's lesson is all about learning how to read the temperature. And I've been told by your Year 2 teachers, Miss Pope, Mrs. Sweeney, that you've done lots of reading scales of different sorts already. And we're going to use your knowledge of the number system and place value to help us. Let's start with our in focus. 2 cups of water. And the girl there says, this cup of water feels warm. What does that word warm mean? Is it the same as the word hot? Or is it different? Think about how it is different. We want to know what happens when we put a thermometer into warm water. Talk about your predictions with your adult. Now, a thermometer, as I'm sure you've already discussed, is something we can use to measure the temperature of something. And thermometers look different. You might have a digital thermometer at home if you're feeling a bit poorly that goes under your tongue or under your armpit. You might have a thermometer at home that looks a little bit like a buzzer that you put towards your head that tells you your temperature in digital form. Now, the thermometers you can see in our Let's Learn are traditional thermometers. And a thermometer, as I said, measures how cold or hot something is. They're normally long, thin glass sticks that are very fragile, with what looks like a number line on them from 0 to 100. And inside the thermometer, you can see some red liquid. This is called mercury. And the mercury in the thermometer becomes longer when it is put in warm water. That means the temperature has risen. If you look at the thermometer on the right-hand side of the screen, okay, we can see the red mercury. And if we put that thermometer in the hot water, this is what would happen. The mercury would rise. And depending on how warm the water is, would depend upon what measurement, what temperature the thermometer gives us. Now, your job today is to practice learning how to read a thermometer. And we can see from our Let's Learn point 2 that we have our thermometers laid down like a number line, which you are used to. We can see that the first thermometer, the mercury, goes all the way up to the number 20. So we can say it reads about 20 degrees Celsius. And Celsius is how we measure some temperatures. The second thermometer, we can see that the mercury has travelled further up the thermometer, just past the number 60. I know the image isn't that clear, but please bear with me. We can say then that the cup of warm water that the second thermometer went in reads about 62 degrees Celsius. And we can see how we write 20 degrees Celsius. A 20 with a little circle up high like an apostrophe and a big C to represent Celsius. We can also see how we write 62 degrees Celsius, and it's that little circle that represents the word degrees. You'll need to know this because later on I want you to practice writing temperatures as you read them in this format. Let's move on. Now this activity you can complete at home, whether you've got a traditional thermometer with mercury in or a digital one or a thermometer of any other type. You will need to make sure you've got an adult supervising you because it requires some warm water. So you will need 3 cups of water to be given to you from your adult. Make sure you have the water in the similar types of cups. So you might have some plastic cups, you might have some mugs, whatever you've got at home. Just by feeling the outside of the water, can you guess which cup of water is the warmest? Then I want you to measure the temperature of the water in each cup using a thermometer. Look carefully at the thermometer, look how the mercury rises, and see if you can tell your adult what the temperature of those 3 different cups of water are. And then can you talk about which one is the hottest, which one is the coldest, and which one comes in the middle? You might want to try this lots of different times. So moving on to our guided practice, we're going to have a go at reading the temperature on a thermometer scale. Now the images on the screen aren't particularly clear, so I'm going to put a slightly different looking thermometer up on the screen that is bigger for you to be able to read to help you answer these questions. So bear with me. We have to write the missing numbers. So we can see we've got a glass of water. Can you see something in that glass of water? Now before we look closely at the measurement and how hot or cold the water is, can you make a prediction? Seeing what's in that glass of water, do you think it's going to be a cold glass of water or a warm glass of water, and why? Now, I have got a different type of thermometer here that shows temperature on the blue side in degrees Celsius and another way of measuring temperature in the green side in degrees Fahrenheit. For now, please ignore the degrees Fahrenheit, the green side. Just look at the blue scale. Okay. Now, I'm not going to move my mercury because I can see from looking at the picture carefully that the mercury hasn't moved. So talk to your adult and record in your book, what temperature does that glass of ice water show? Let's look at question B. Oh, something slightly different about this picture. You can see something underneath that glass and in the glass if you look carefully, and coming out the top of the glass that might give us a clue as to whether this glass of water is going to be hotter or colder. Okay, I'm going to show you using our new temperature gauge the temperature of that water. Are you ready? Here it goes. Getting higher and higher. Okay. I'm using either the image on the page or the interactive thermometer I have used. Can you write down the temperature of that water now? Well done. It's 100 degrees Celsius. And if you talk to your adult about 100 degrees Celsius, and we can see from the picture, when a liquid, not all liquids, but some liquids reach 100 degrees, particularly water, that's what we call boiling point. So the water in your kettle, it starts to boil when it reaches 100 degrees Celsius. That is very, very hot. Okay, let's have a go at some more guided practice questions. Sam mixes different amounts of hot water with tap water in various cups. He measures the temperature of the water. What is the temperature of the water in each cup? And again, because the image is small, I'm going to move the temperature on my gauge to help you. So let's first of all look at question A. Okay, I can see some steam coming out the top of the glass. Is that going to help us? Watch my thermometer. Are you ready? I can see from the tiny picture on the screen, this is the temperature of that glass of water. Can you write it in your book? Let's go straight to question C. We'll come back and do B in a moment. Okay, so I can still see there's some steam coming out the top of that glass, but it's a slightly different temperature. Let's have a look. There you go. Can you read that scale? What's the temperature of that glass of water? Is glass C hotter or colder than glass A? And how do you know? Let's skip to question B. Okay, there's no steam coming out of this glass of water. Let's look carefully at the temperature we can see on the thermometer. I will put it on my thermometer so you've got a bigger version, and I can see that the temperature of this glass of water is there. Okay, what's that temperature? Can you write it down? Is glass B hotter or colder than glass A? How do you know? Think about your understanding of place value to help. And last but not least, let's have a go at question D. Okay, again, there's no steam coming out the top. We might be able to have a guess as to if this is going to be hotter or warmer than A or C or even B. Let's move Miss Doe's thermometer to show that image a bit bigger for you. I can see this is the temperature. So write it down. Out of all four of those, A, B, C or D, could you put them in order to show me which glass of water is the warmest, which glass of water is the coldest, and what comes in between? And explain to your adult how you know, again, thinking about your knowledge of place value. Now it's time to move on to your independent learning, where we're going to have a go at reading temperatures. All of these worksheets are available on the school website, which might be clearer to see when you print them out. But what I will do as we go through these, and you might want to keep stopping the film, is display my big horizontal thermometer, and I'll move the mercury to help you read the quite fuzzy picture. I'm going to hide the written marks there. So, question A. The thermometer reads this temperature. What is it? Question B. The thermometer reads this temperature. What is it? And question C. The thermometer reads this temperature. Look carefully there. A bit trickier than A and B. And question D. The thermometer reaches this temperature. What is it? Question E. The thermometer reaches this temperature. What temperature is that? And question F. The thermometer reads this temperature. What is it? Remember to look at the blue numbers, ignore the green ones. Okay, question 2 requires you to think about whether the thermometer shows a temperature that is less than, more than, or equal to the temperature shown for each question. Again, I will show the temperature from the thermometer on the horizontal one so it's clearer for you to see. It might be clear on your worksheet if you've managed to print it out. So question A, we need to find out if the temperature on the thermometer is less than, more than, or equal to 70 degrees. This is the temperature that is shown. There you go. Is the temperature shown on that thermometer less than 70 degrees Celsius, more than 70 degrees Celsius, or equal to 70 degrees Celsius? Write one of those phrases in that box. Let's move on to question B. So we need to decide whether the temperature, question B, we need to decide whether the temperature is more than 36 degrees, less than 36 degrees, or equal to 36 degrees. And here is the temperature that is shown. Oh, sorry, year twos, technical difficulties. Okay, are you ready? Look very carefully at this one. There you go. Use your knowledge of those number lines and what comes in between those multiples of 10. Is it more than 36 degrees, less than 36 degrees, or equal to 36 degrees? And then let's move on to our last question in this section. Again, are you going to write equal to 50 degrees, more than 50 degrees, or less than 50 degrees? Here is the temperature. Off you go. Question 3. You should be able to see the temperature a bit more clearly, so I won't use my horizontal one. But question 3A, fill in the blanks. The body temperature of the boy is about how many degrees? Look carefully at that thermometer. Question B. The temperature of the ice water is about how many degrees? And question C. The temperature of the boiling water is about how many degrees Celsius? Question 4, again, you should be able to see the images quite clearly here in order to answer the questions. So we've got 3 cups of water, cup A, cup B, and cup C. And we'd like you to have a go at filling in the blanks of the sentences that show below. So if you want to record first of all what the temperature is for cup A, what the temperature is for cup B, and what the temperature is for cup C, I'll then scroll down to show you the questions you need to answer, and then you don't have to keep flicking back up. And these are the questions. Get an adult to help you read them if you need to, and pause the video so you can read through them. For those of you who want to challenge yourself a bit further today and extend your learning, I've got 3 extra challenges for you to have a go at. Challenge 1, it says take temperatures around the school and complete the following STEM sentences, but maybe you could do it at home instead. So we want to know the temperature in the kitchen, for example, is what? The kitchen temperature is hotter, colder than the bathroom, and the difference in temperature between the kitchen and the bathroom is what, using your subtraction to help you. Challenge number 2, you've got some empty thermometers here. Can you complete the thermometers to show the temperatures? Again, you might want to colour it in using red to show the mercury, or point to where you think they might be to show your adult. And then the last question is to compare the temperatures using the greater than, the less than, or equals to sign. That's it for today, year 2. Thank you for bearing with me. It's a long video, but I needed to show you on a different thermometer the temperatures that you needed to see, which I know aren't very clear. And I look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. Have a good day.